You're watching Big Island Television, Hawaii's Aloha Channel.
Our Big Island experience travels over Highway 250, through the Kohala Mountains and down to Waimea. This ranching town is in the heart of rugged cattle country. Waimea is the home of the famed Parker Ranch. In 1809, a young seaman named John Parker jumped ship on the Big Island and started what has become the Parker Ranch we know today. The first cattle arrived in Hawaii in 1793 when British Captain George Vancouver delivered a herd to Kamehameha. Horses arrived 10 years later. In the 1830s, Mexican and Portuguese vaqueros came to the island to teach the Hawaiians the cattle trade. During the mid-1930s, cattle that was ready for market were shipped off island. The cattle drive through town became an event in itself, as everyone turned out to watch the cowboys herd their livestock into the water and out to the waiting ship. One gentleman who left his mark in Hawaii's Paniolo tradition is Akua Purdy. Back in 1908, he became the world's steer roping champion while competing in Cheyenne, Wyoming. In 1999, he was inducted into the National Rodeo Cowboy Hall of Fame, and today, a statue stands in his honor in downtown Waimea. Having such a rich history, this museum celebrates the achievements of the cowboy. The Paniolo Preservation Society chronicles Hawaii's ranching accomplishments and the generations of Paniolo that made it all possible. Honoring the First Lady of Ranching is the Anna Ranch Heritage Center, a working cattle ranch and a museum telling the story of Anna Le'aloha Lindsay Perry Fisk, known for her ranching and horsemanship skills and love for her community. For today's ranchers, the focus is on pasture-raised beef. Most of today's livestock are a cross between Angus, Brangus, and Hereford. The cattle are grass-fed, which produces leaner cuts of meat, lowering the fat content and providing a healthier choice. Waimea is a town of history and tradition with all the conveniences of a modern town. And chances are your dinner plate contains beef and produce grown and raised in Waimea. Also noteworthy, Waimea is home to the state of Hawaii's very first Grammy Award. If you enjoy hiking, exploring, or just feeling the green grass under your toes, this is the Waimea Nature Park, Ulula'au, meaning Garden of Trees, open to the public every day. Each February, a colorful festival is held to celebrate the cherry blossom, the colorful pink blooms of these historic cherry trees, originally planted by Japanese royalty. The event embraces Hawaii's ethnic diversity. Leaving Waimea and traveling eastward takes us to the Hamakua coastline, the sleepy little plantation town of Honoka'a, population 3,000. This is the hub of most Hamakua activity. The people here are descendants of immigrant plantation workers who worked the sugar fields from 1873 to 1994. Honoka'a is a historic town. Shops, boutiques, and restaurants line Main Street. The hub of community activity is the Honoka'a People's Theater that features theater productions and live concerts. The area is also known for its macadamia nut production. The first macadamia nut trees in Hawaii came from Australia and were planted in Honoka'a in 1881. It has developed into a major industry, and today consumers have come to realize how delicious the macadamia nut really is. In the district of Honoka'a is the spectacular Waipio Valley with its 2,000-foot walls cutting back into the Kohala Mountains. At one time, this serene valley was heavily populated by ancient Hawaiians. However, tidal waves devastated the valley more than once, and today there remains only a few taro farmers and their families who are reluctant to give up the simplicity and awesome beauty of Waipio. The best way to truly enjoy the many valleys along the coastline is by air. Sheer mountain walls tower over 2,000 feet, above meandering streams and waterfalls that cascade into rivers and the ocean far below. The sculptured terrain of this lush tropical coastline is considered by many to be the most beautiful in the world. Upland from Honoka'a Town is the 100-acre Kalopa Recreational State Park, elevation 2,000 feet. If you're a camping enthusiast, the park offers full lodging conveniences, picnic grounds, and a forest nature hike amongst the native foliage. Driving east along the Hamakua coast, we arrive at the town of Laupahoehoe. Back in the early 1900s, the sounds of railroad trains were a daily occurrence. At the time, building the tracks seemed impossible. The railway had to cross hundreds of streams and valleys. Large steel supports were erected 150 feet high. Once completed, raw sugar, agricultural products, and passengers were transported to various destinations. This long concrete platform, which remains intact today, was the original arrival and stop-off point for all train passengers. Inside this museum are the stories of that time period. Tragedy struck on April Fool's Day 1946 when a massive tsunami came on shore. At that time, there were no warning systems. No one knew the waves were coming. The railroad system took a direct hit, and so did Laupahoehoe School, where 24 residents, both teachers and students, lost their lives. Today, a monument stands in honor of those who perished. Because of this event, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center was established in 1949. The area today is a favorite gathering place for picnics, community events, fishing, and relaxation. Next, we journey onto the beautiful Akaka Falls State Park, certainly one of the most sensational sights along the Hamakua coast. Legend says the falls is named for Chief Akaka, a married man who, one night, was unfaithful to his wife. He became so overwhelmed with guilt that he jumped over the cliff into the pond below. His wife, heartbroken over his death, was then transformed into this rock. Her tears continues to flow into the valley of Akaka Falls. Well, stay with us. When we return, it's a visit to Hilo Town and the sights of East Hawaii. You're with Big Island Television, Hawaii's Aloha Channel.